So how could you possibly not like a film that takes such delicate subject matter and kind of turns it on its ear a little bit and still makes you laugh? And that's what National Lampoon's Vacation does. And this was directed by Harold Ramis. I thought he did an excellent job with this. Chevy Chase pulls out all the stops. And as the character of Clark Griswold, Beverly D'Angelo she adds to the comedic elements created by Chevy Chase, but she also puts her own spin on things and is a balance. Because I don't think if Chevy Chase had her there to keep him focused and keep him balanced, that the film will work nearly as well. So those two working together are what makes the film work. Okay, so that's National Lampoon's Vacation. The next film is the original Meatballs, starring Bill Murray. And Bill Murray is another actor, as far as comedy films, that I greatly respect. And the movies he made in his heyday, this one, Caddyshack, Ghostbusters, any of the films that he made in the late 70s and then the early to mid 80s were definitely the highlights of his career as far as I'm concerned. Meatballs is basically a story of a children's summer camp. Bill Murray plays the head counselor. He plays a character called Tripper. And he's the counselor that everybody loves and everybody wants to be like. And not only is he very hilarious in this role, but he adds a kind of a softer side to this. He's not necessarily just this crass, overbearing humorous character, which I've seen in a lot of comedy films. He helps a young kid out in the film who really needs a friend at that point. And this doesn't move into melodramatic territory, which again I said that melodramatic scenes or dramatic scenes are not what you need when you're having a bad day. You need fun scenes. But it's just one of those things that again creates a balance. If you go too much in the humorous direction without any sort of balance to pull you back a little bit, then the film's not going to work as well. And thankfully Bill Murray has the ability to not only play that humorous edge, but also to play a softer character, someone that wants to help, and he does ultimately end up helping this young boy, and that in connection with the humorous scenes is what really makes Meatballs work as a film. And it's definitely one, again, that you should pick up if you haven't ever seen it, you know, or even if you've seen the later Meatballs films and you haven't seen this one. This one is completely different than any of the other Meatballs films that I saw come after it. The other Meatballs films I think are more adult oriented, sexually oriented. Not that there isn't some play towards that direction in this film. There is, but it's not centered on that. It's centered on just plain humor. And I think it works in that respect. I think if they had had too much adult or sexual humor, it wouldn't have worked nearly as well as it did. And for a film made in 1979, when pretty much films were starting to get that edge, I think it just went to show that you didn't need a lot of women taking their clothes off at the drop of a hat, and you didn't need a lot of sexual situations going on to make a good comedy film. And again, that's Meatballs. Definitely one to pick up if you haven't seen it. The next film I want to talk about is Bachelor Party. And this one is more adult oriented. Not a children's film by any means. It does have Tom Hanks on it again, who I absolutely love in films, as I've said before. It also has Adrian Zmed on it. And let me tell you, for you women that like to look at guys with their shirts off and they're singing rock songs and stuff like that, this is definitely would be a movie for you. Because Adrian Zmed has a whole scene where he's singing and he's sweating and he's got his shirt off, and I know I'm going to catch it from some of the guys that watch my videos for even bringing this up. But hey, we got to include some stuff for the ladies here. And so this movie concerns a young man played by Tom Hanks, who is getting ready to get married to a woman that he's been seeing for a while. He, of course, is a guy that doesn't have much money. I mean, he has a nice steady job. He's a bus driver for a school. I believe it's a Catholic school. He makes a pretty decent living. He's in love with this woman, and he wants to marry her, and she wants to marry him. On the other hand, her family is very rich. They have a big house. They have tennis courts and all that. But she doesn't seem to care. She loves Tom Hanks' character. So they're planning their wedding. And also, Tom Hanks' character is planning his bachelor party. His friends, all his buddies are like, oh, you're getting married, you know, the fun time's going to be over, so we've got to have one last hurrah. We got to have this big, wild bachelor party with hookers and stag films and alcohol and drugs and all this stuff. So that's where the humor starts, is at this bachelor party that they have at this big hotel. Meanwhile, there's a guy that's just enamored of Tom Hanks's soon-to-be wife. He had evidently dated her at one time and was still pretty much had a thing for her, and kind of wanted to get Tom Hanks's character out of the picture so that maybe she would come back to him. So there's that humorous element of him trying to get rid of Tom Hanks's character, and there's also a friend that is constantly, and again, this wouldn't seem like it would be funny, but the way that they portray it in the film, it is hilarious. But he has a friend who is constantly trying to kill himself in various ways, but he always messes up. Like he's trying to slash his wrist with an electric razor. He puts his head in water and in the bathtub, tries to drown himself, and Tom Hanks' character just comes in there and takes the stopper out. Just all kinds of things going on. They have a stripper come that is supposed to do things with an animal, with a donkey, I believe. The donkey ends up snorting cocaine off the piano and dying, so now they've got to get rid of this donkey. And they get hookers and people they don't even know